It's been a while, but we're back. Welcome into another Swamp 247 commit breakdown. My name is Jacob Rudner alongside Swamp 247's recruiting analyst, Blake Alderman. And Blake, this is a massive commitment. Florida lands five-star 2024 quarterback DJ Lagway out of the state of Texas. He is the number 24 overall prospect and number 4 quarterback in that 2024 class on the 24/7 Sports composite. Florida up to number 10 overall in the country in 2024 recruiting, although it's early. Still, though, a massive win for the Gators on the trail. This is a player who I think fans were long anticipating would end up in the Gators class. First and foremost, like we do on all of these commit breakdowns, give me the kind of rundown here. What are the Gators getting in DJ Lagway? Things that stand out to you about this prospect?
I think they're getting a lot of things. I think he checks off a lot of boxes for Florida. And, first and foremost, quarterback dominoes are already falling in the 2024 class. Plenty of signal callers have already committed to their schools. Lagway was kind of that next, big signal caller quarterback type that, was a lot of schools was looking at. And, now he's off the board. He's going to Florida. So I think first and foremost, it's good for Florida's 2024 class to get that quarterback in the boat early. Lagway has already said the reason why he wanted to move his timeline up was so he could start recruiting some of these guys and help build a class. So I think that's good for Florida to not be in so much of the same boat as 2023. Yes, they eventually got Marcus Stokes, who they eventually parted ways with, and eventually flipped Jaden Rashada from Miami, another big quarterback. But it was much later in the cycle. So I think Florida's in a much better spot as far as getting a guy like Lagway, a polarizing recruit, 5-star name, a big name that a lot of kids, will probably want to play with. Get him in the boat early, let him do his thing, recruit other guys to come join him, help build up that Florida offense. So I think that's a big win for Florida there. But also at the same time, Florida's getting a guy that, really emulates a lot of things they want to do on offense. He's much improved as far as a quarterback from his sophomore to his junior year, as far as completion percentages and just different things that, that are a part of being a quarterback. As a sophomore, he was a dynamic athlete who was lining up at quarterback. This year, he's a dynamic quarterback that also has, the athletic ability. So I think he's molded his game. And I think a lot of things that what Florida would want to do with him, what you saw with Anthony Richardson this past season, the RPOs, the passing plays, bootlegs, getting guys out there in space at the quarterback position, helping open up some throwing lanes. I think that's a lot of the things you're going to want to see Florida do with DJ Lagway. So, I think you could argue that this is the biggest win for Billy Napier on the recruiting trail so far to date. And I think I could argue that with either him or Jaden Rashada. Either way, Florida's quarterback room is looking pretty good. Landing a guy like Jaden Rashada in 2023, who on 24/7 Sports rankings, as they continue to fill out the final 5 stars that they'll eventually end with when the cycle ends. He's in that 5-star range. DJ Lagway is already a composite 5-star on 2020 for 2024. So, Florida's really doing a good job. If you want to build a program, you start with the quarterback position. Florida's done a fantastic job in back-to-back classes, reeling in those big-time players at quarterback.
You talk about that athleticism with a guy like DJ Lagway, a standout athlete under center. I think it's safe to say at this point that we know the type of quarterback Billy Napier is looking for, and there's evidence of that even dating back to his time at Louisiana, where he had a mobile quarterback in Levi Lewis. Anthony Richardson starts for him in his first year as Florida's head coach. And then you look down the line, Florida has a guy like Jaden Rashada who has that athletic gene, and now DJ Lagway added to the mix. Again, I think I want to circle back with you, Blake, on just the impact of this for Florida's 2024 class. You mentioned it briefly. The ability to use this as a marketing tool and kind of bring in further prospects. Florida at 3 commitments right now. Where does it go from here? Do we see the tide start to kind of pick up on the 2024 side for Florida? Where are they at with that group?
They've already got a really good solid core. Miles Graham, the legacy linebacker, he's a top 30 player right now on the 24/7 Sports composite for 2024. Chauncey Bowens, the other commit that was previously already in the class, 2024 4-star running back, I believe, who actually just picked up an offer from Georgia. So, he's a guy that's still getting those looks. Being an early recruit like that, they're still going to have coaches go by the school and, continue to evaluate. So I think what you would like to see if you've got a guy that's in your class is that, they're still picking up big offers. Schools are still, you never as a fan or a coach want to see, your commits get poached or still recruited and you want to have to fight off those guys. But, it's a lot better to see one of your guys get, an acknowledgement from Georgia rather, a smaller type of school. So I think that Florida's got a guy with him there too that, is a solid runner, really powerful there. So I think Florida's starting to build a really good class at some of those important positions. Quarterback, you always want to check that box off every year. Running back, a position that Florida uses immensely in their offense. Miles Graham, linebacker. Florida only has one in the 2023 class committed right now in Jaden Robinson. Probably going to have to go portaling for another guy in there to help build up that linebacker room. But that need of having to fill high school guys is going to carry over greatly into 2024. So it's good to get a guy like Miles Graham, a really talented player, a big-time player, already in the boat now. So I think having a guy like DJ Lagway is going to be, one of those that sends shockwaves, around the recruiting world in 2024. Maybe some guys that, we're looking at Florida, maybe they look at it a little bit harder. Florida can obviously sell that pitch there. As far as, maybe dominoes that fall off the board for 2024 going forward after landing a guy like DJ Lagway, I'm not really sure where things go there. That's something we'll wait and see, how things shake out or if they do shake out. But I think the biggest thing to take away from a guy like Lagway is that Florida got a guy at a very important position that you can have be your bell cow of your class and help recruit other guys. You already get him, in the ear of other guys out there trying to recruit others to join him in there. But I think Florida's already hitting a lot of needs early. Again, running back important. Quarterback is always going to be important every cycle, and linebacker. So, we'll see if any new targets shake out there, because maybe having a guy like DJ Lagway opens some doors that you didn't know could be opened before you landed a guy like that. So I think Florida has a really good chance to have a very impressive 2024 class as far as where things sit right now. And I think a big part of that is having that big-time polarizing quarterback like DJ Lagway. So I expect Florida to use that to help sell other guys in that class going forward. We'll see how that pays off. But, certainly having a guy like that as early as Florida does right now, I think it's going to be a big selling point for a lot of other guys to say, hey, we just landed DJ Lagway, big-time player, need you to come play with him, help build Florida back up. So I think that's a really solid pitch that they're going to be able to use in that cycle.
No doubt. And just to remind everybody, Lagway is the number 24 overall prospect and number 4 quarterback in the 2024 class on the 24/7 Sports Composite. So a highly regarded recruit jumps into the Gators class well in advance of its signing day. But as we approach a signing day for the class prior in the 2023 cycle, interesting recruiting landscape for the Gators right now, especially at that quarterback position. Anthony Richardson declares for the NFL draft. Expected development. He will no longer participate with the Gators, including in their bowl game on December 17th against Oregon State. It leaves them with just 2 scholarship quarterbacks. You have Max Brown, the true freshman, who long known is kind of a project, somebody the staff views as maybe a potential contributor down the line, certainly not right away. And then you have the transfer, Jack Miller, who joins the program from Ohio State, doesn't play at all in 2022 as a sophomore, could potentially play in the bowl game. It sounds like his health might be of somewhat concern. But the room is thin in terms of scholarship players. You have Rashada committed in 23. You have Lagway now committed in 24. How does the program approach the position moving forward? Do we see a transfer here? Do we see multiple transfers here? What are you hearing as far as the objective goes for quarterback?
I'm not sure on multiple transfers. I think that ideally a transfer is much needed. And I think for Florida, when you look at the room, could they use 2 transfers? Absolutely. You look at the room now, you've pretty much just got 2 guys, 3 whenever you have Jaden Rashada enroll there. I think long-term, Rashada is going to be the future for Florida. We'll see when Lagway gets there, the following year, and they battle things out from there. That's to be seen. But I think in general, you would think that Rashada is the future for your program. I think Florida should look for a portal guy that maybe is a 1-year guy, grad transfer, kind of a Band-Aid, who can be a good player. I'm not saying you just take a guy just to take a guy. You get a guy that can come in and help you win. And this isn't – in college football now, with the way the portal can be used, rebuilds they happen. It's sometimes it's a couple year thing. That's kind of traditionally where things have been. But with the portal, man, look at guys like USC. Even Florida State from maybe more of a longer term type of rebuild. But a lot of those schools, you go in the portal, you can flip your roster quickly. You can make a couple year rebuild a lot shorter with the portal. Right. So I think getting a guy that has some talent, maybe a 1-year guy that's a graduate guy. I think that, that is ideally what you would at least want to see for Florida. A guy that can come in next year while you continue to see, how things transpire with Max Brown and his development. Jack Miller, what you can get out of him. He was obviously behind the 8 ball this year with the injury he had to his hand or thumb, or hand injury that he suffered this year.
Thumb injury for him. Yeah.
So, and then obviously Jaden Rashada, they think the world of him. He's an early enrollee type of guy, so he'll be able to get in there for spring ball, learn the playbook, go through spring football, get accustomed to college, life in general. He's already got a really big arm and he's already very accurate, so I think there's a lot of things you like about Rashada. Long term, I don't know that ideally anybody would want to throw a true freshman into an offense, especially in the SEC. So, we'll see how multiple transfers go from there. I don't really know for sure there. I don't know that I can completely dismiss that or throw that out the window, but I at least Florida's going to have to get a guy that, is a 1-year, Band-Aid kind of a bridge gap type of guy for them to connect for these guys that are coming in for the future.
And when they do that, Blake, we will have another commit breakdown, of course, on the Swamp 247 YouTube page, which we encourage you to subscribe to if you are not already. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about the videos. And also head on over to swamp247.com to subscribe for more of our daily content. We post to YouTube as much as we can, but we certainly make sure that there's constant flow of information going on over at Swamp 247, both on our message board and in our content. So if you want the full experience, make sure you go on over there and subscribe. But for this commit breakdown, that's going to do it. For Blake Alderman, my name is Jacob Rudner, and we will see you guys on the next one.